Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the 12th episode of Leadership is Also About podcast series conducted by the National Showcasing Team of AIESEC Sri Lanka. First, I would like to thank the National Showcasing Team for continuing to inspire thousands of people in the younger generation through this platform. I am Sayuri Perera, Human Resource Specialist in the National Showcasing Team of AIESEC Sri Lanka. So the topic for today's episode is how to achieve success by being your own leader. So this would be a very interesting topic for all the young individuals who are finding the best path for them to achieve success in their lives. So to talk about this topic, we have invited one of the best people who has a lot of experience in this area. So I will introduce him to you first. He is a talented and well-experienced professional in the corporate training and business management sector in Sri Lanka. He has more than 10 years of professional experience and he has excelled in his career as the co-founder of Cognito Asia Training and Development and the founder of Conquest Solution Private Limited. He has also proven himself to be a great leader as a president of the AIESEC Sri Lanka for the term 2008-2009. And he has provided guidance to many young people to be the future leaders while directing AIESEC to achieve sustainability and success. Furthermore, being an international facilitator of the national conferences conducted by AIESEC Singapore and Hong Kong has given him the experience and knowledge which benefited in growth and development of the organization. He is none other than Mr. Samantha Karandagoda. I warmly welcome you, sir, on behalf of the team. So to begin the session, I would first like to ask, what does leadership means to you?
Thank you, Sayuri, for inviting me here. It's always a pleasure to come back to AIESEC and share anything that I have with the membership. And I believe that every time I'm joining you, I'm also learning something new. So I enjoy this experience quite a lot. So in order to answer your question, what leadership means to you, I believe that leadership is a role in life that you will have to play in order to change the status quo. Leadership is a lot about change, and it is all about how you inspire the people around you in order to achieve targets, objectives that will make the world a better place. It can be a little limiting when you are thinking about it in a profit-driven company environment, but I believe that if you find out your connection between what you do today as a profit-making enterprise and the impact that it will make on people or otherwise the environment, it will be very easy for you to stay motivated and committed to the goals as an individual as well as a team. So in a nutshell, the leaders are all about inspiring people towards action, which will bring positive results.
Okay. So is there anyone who inspired you to be a leader?
It is very difficult to say a single name, but when I reflect, I find that my father is someone who encouraged me to be a leader, as well as my grade 5 teacher, who was actually an exemplary character. She was in charge of the Scouts movement, and she had shown us how to go an extra mile in order to achieve the things that you are supposed to achieve, as well as have a certain amount of compassion towards everyone, regardless of their actions in the journey of going towards achieving a particular goal. And in the meantime, when it comes to AIESEC, I have met amazing characters like Damita Samarakon, Danushka Tennakon, Maria Lucia Uribe, and Sapumal Timbatuava, who has actually like all gotten together and inspired me to get into leadership positions in AIESEC during that time, but also to take bigger roles in the society upon graduation. So I believe that it's not only one person. Of course, like another character that I got inspired was because of Jack Welch. I happened to read one book about Jack called Straight from the Gut, and I found that he was a corporate leader who was very focused and results driven. But I don't say that Jack is the only leadership character that I would follow. My thinking is that there can be multiple inspirational characters for us, and we will extract the parts that are relevant to our journey from each of these different leaders. It is not actually suitable to follow everything about another person, which will result in actually a mess, because all of us have our own realities, our own goals, objectives, as well as our own preferences. So therefore, when you meet people, I suggest that you take the best as well as take what fits your reality from them and use it for the best.
Yeah, I think that's a great message, that we have to actually extract what that's gonna add value to our lives and get inspired by those leaders. So, being an president in AIESEC Sri Lanka, can you actually briefly explain to us the milestone of your AIESEC journey?
Yes, I believe that the biggest awakening point for me was XCon 2004, where I happened to meet probably the characters that I mentioned you here. And not only them, I believe even like some of the members who joined together with me, um, like Damita, Rajit, Buddhi, all of them were huge inspirations for me to take up leadership positions. And then we all happen to become coordinators in AIESEC. I don't know, you might have different namings. That is like a small group leader. And after that, I got the opportunity to go to AP XLDS in Bangladesh 2005, which I believe was the time that I went through an amazing reflection about myself and to understand my role in the world, then figure out what kind of things I love doing, what kind of things I hate doing. Uh, as a result of that, I became more self-aware. I became more clear about what I want to achieve. And in the meantime, I was well motivated to make a positive change within the local community or LC, AIESEC Colombo South, as well as AIESEC in Sri Lanka. And then it propelled the journey. Like as a result of that, we reorganized a lot of work within our LC. We managed to get more members engaged. We managed to influence the leadership bodies above us in a more positive manner, so that it resulted in a major change over the years, not only by myself, but of course, like thanking to the specific individuals I mentioned throughout this podcast earlier. We all got together and managed to, I did not mention Sahan, who also should be mentioned here, Sahan Hennadige. So we all got together and created a certain change, which lasted long, and we saw some amazing things happening as a result of that. So in that way, I moved from the LC level to national level as a national support team manager role, which was largely related to training and development. And I used to be a trainer in throughout my AIESEC career. I think I started soon after coming back from XCon doing very small trainings. That was in 2004 or 5. And ever since I've been a trainer with AIESEC. And also, I was at international conferences such as International Congress of 2007, 2008, International President's Meeting 2009, and I have chaired National Conference of AIESEC Hong Kong 2010, as well as it's quite interesting. I chaired a local conference only after chairing an international conference. So I chaired JLC local conference only after another 3 years from chairing my first international conference. So in that way, I had a very interesting AIESEC career, and of course, not forgetting the year that I spent as the president and the support that I got from the team is amazing, which changed myself as an individual to become more responsible, to get deeper insights about people, as well as to believe in people who actually make this world a beautiful place. So a big shout out to my MC team, Sudhira, Tilanka, Bhanuka, Madhumal, as well as Pamodi, who worked full time with us. So all these people made the whole experience an amazing one. So in that way, like, it's all about throughout the journey aspiring towards something bigger and better that made myself uh, more mature, as well as more, what do you call it, more satisfied, let's say. Yeah, so a contented person, I would call it more contented person as a result of all these experiences.
Okay, so you're having a lot of experience in this AIESEC journey. So I would like to ask you, Mr. Samantha, how did your experience as an AIESECer and the member committee president of AIESEC Sri Lanka help you to achieve what you have achieved today?
One thing I found from AIESEC was you have to lose the fear to try new things. It makes a huge difference in your life. Any moment that you are trying something new, it means that you have to expect the unexpected. It means that you have to learn new things. It means that you are challenging yourself. That was an amazing experience that I got as a MCP, as well as in other roles within AIESEC. Next to that, I learned to become more entrepreneurial, not only in terms of entrepreneurship, but also with regards to administration as well. I believe that entrepreneurship is all about exploring new opportunities and trying to create value uh, by tapping those opportunities, which will satisfy multiple stakeholders within your organization and outside. So I learned the fundamentals of entrepreneurship in that way because of AIESEC. In the meantime, I figured out that any organization requires a strong administration in addition to entrepreneurship and leadership. The moment that it is only run based on entrepreneurship or otherwise a softer version of leadership, it will lead to some chaos. So therefore, it's very important that you combine your entrepreneurial spirit with a strong sense of administration, and then improved interpersonal skills in an amazing way. Because if you speak to some of my colleagues back then, you will find that I was a more um, uh, okay, to put very straight, a lot of people around me believe that I lack a lot of soft skills, uh, not limited to public speaking. I was a good public speaker, but there are several other soft skills, such as being empathetic, trying to understand other people, communicating effectively, etc., which I improved massively during my AIESEC career. And then I learned to face challenges. During the time that I was the MCP, it was the last few months of a brutal 30-year war where everyone suffered equally. And there were bomb blasts happening within every 2 months or so, and a drastic decline of number of exchanges, as well as a kind of tough economic environment due to the changes that were happening in the USA because of the USA was going through a recession. With all of these things, we faced amazing, unbelievable challenges to manage finances, to get the membership motivation going, and to sustain the organization. However, we all got together and we worked as one in order to overcome these challenges. Once again, I reiterate that it is not only about myself. It was the whole team that I mentioned just above who made that difference. Without them, it will never be a possibility, right? And of course, we have to think about our LCPs as well during that era. So all of them together helped me to craft an experience that added value to myself as well as everyone else around us.
Okay, so you mentioned that you learn to try new things and grab more opportunities. So doing new things means there's a high chance of making mistakes and maybe things going wrong. So how do you manage such situations?
Yes, absolutely. I believe that doing new things can result in things going the right way, or otherwise not so expected results. So when you have these not so expected results, it's very important that we own up to our mistakes, right? So there is a saying, you will never become a better version of yourself until you own up to the mistakes that you made. Okay, so it's very nice to say that mistakes are learning opportunities, and maybe sometimes dilute the effect of a mistake, etc. But of course, we have to remember that mistakes should not be used as an opportunity to blame someone or put someone under the spotlight, but instead, we as leaders have the obligation to own up to the mistakes, accept the mistake, but ensure that such mistakes will not be repeated. So therefore, my belief is that when you try new things, always remember and be ready to face unexpected results. And when you face such results, own up to that mistake, find why it happened, and try to overcome that.
Okay. So moving on, you have led and provided guidance to many people throughout the years, like especially in the AIESEC journey. So as an individual, how did you manage to lead yourself to where you are right now?
I believe the number one thing towards where I am right now is defining success or failure on my own terms. Our society is quite limited by the thinking of what others will think if I do this. It's a very dangerous concept. A lot of young people, they give up their dreams. They will lose out on a lot of opportunities because of this fear of like what others will think about this. What do my other friends are doing, right? So we have to, like, that's why I said, like, we have to own up our mistakes, right? So you have to get that courage to take control of your life and define the success or failure on your own terms and start going in the direction that you wanted to. And in your journey, you have to be committed to those goals. It's very easy to see that people who were with you at one point of time are going on a different path and they are achieving different things. And if you start getting panicked about them achieving certain things and you are achieving things differently, especially if you are achieving the things a little less than what they are achieving according to your opinion at that time, trying to switch again or otherwise uh, getting upset about your choices is not a good one. Of course, it makes sense to do a proper evaluation and create an exit strategy from a path that you have taken. It is completely okay to take exits, but don't try to jump out the vehicle in the middle of the highway. So when you're going from Kottao to Galle, you find exit points, right? So if you want to manage your journey, choose an exit point and exit. So that's very important. And then throughout all these journeys, it's very important to have the perseverance, because success is a very long-term thing. Uh, there will be several short-term failures. People, what do you call, you are getting, your expectations are not met. Uh, so in such cases, persevere towards your goals, right? So take time to reflect on whether your goals are the right goals for you, and whether the path you are following towards that goal is the right path. And after that, if there is a change to be made, go for it, make that change, but continue in that direction. That's what I can tell.
Okay, that's a great message. I hope people would be more confident of being themselves and achieving their dreams in their own way, actually. So, moving on, as a person who has gathered a vast amount of experience in the corporate trading sector, what are the skills that you recognize as essential to have if someone wants to succeed in their life?
I believe becoming a fast learner is a very important one. Uh, the world is changing really fast. The conditions and the scenarios that you are faced with are very different very often. So now you can see that during the month of March, all of our lives took a very different turn, and we were met with a situation that we have never dealt with. So therefore, like, we have to become a fast learner in order to absorb the new ways of doing things and be ready to uh, do that change where it is needed. Next thing is becoming an effective communicator is very important, especially in the training career that I am in, but in elsewhere as well. Becoming an effective communicator is not becoming a fluent speaker of English. This is where a lot of people make a big mistake. Language is a tool. You might make an effective communication in few Chinese words that you extracted from a guidebook while you are traveling in China. It's all about ensuring the message is passed to the right person in the right way. So you might use your language, your body language, your verbal communication, your written communication, or a mix of all this in order to communicate the message that you want to put forward. Thirdly, I would say interpersonal relationships. How to manage the interpersonal relationships is a very important one. Even in the training area, sometimes when you are carrying out a training, you will know before the first yawn happens. That is actually something I'm very careful about when I'm doing a training. Throughout the time that I'm conducting the training, I'm monitoring the faces of the people. Generally, I take audiences of about 30 people. Sometimes I'm compelled to train more than that, which I actually don't consider as training at that time, because more than 30 people means that it becomes a lecture. So as much as possible, I would try to monitor people's faces and facial expressions, as well as how do they interact with what I'm talking about, so that I know that there will not be a yawn. Otherwise, it's a contagious thing. So that's just one example of the importance of interpersonal relationship. But of course, how you deal with your clients, how you deal with your subordinates, all this comes down to an effective interpersonal relationship. And the fundamental of that relationship is treat the others the way that you like to be treated. And finally, I want to add here, not a skill, but an attitude. Especially if you are in the training sector, you should have the passion to inspire and grow other people. But I believe that even if you are not in the field of training, especially if you are a leader who had been in AIESEC, or otherwise if you are going into a corporate sector job, non-profit sector job, you should always have that attitude that you help the people around you to be the better versions of themselves, And quite likely, they might end up being better persons than you are. And we should be ready to become comfortable with that.
Okay, so there were quite a few points, very important points that we should pay attention to actually. So moving on, being one's own leader is not an easy task. So especially when facing criticism and negativity. So sometimes it can be stressful or demotivating. So as a great entrepreneur and a leader, how do you manage to handle yourself through criticism and negativity?
It's a very good question. I believe it will be very helpful for a lot of people who want to start up as well. Uh, I must confess that I also panicked a lot when things don't go right during my early years. I let it be as a leader within AIESEC, or otherwise even when I was starting up and running my own business for the first time. So right now I have developed a certain temperament in a way that when these kind of small setbacks come on my way, I have a certain strategy to face that. So therefore, I'm a lot less panicked when I'm faced with a situation of things not going the way that I wanted. Now I'm very comfortable with the point that things hardly go on the way that we want, so that we have to continuously keep on shaping it into the direction that we want to send it. Yeah. So the first thing is you have to go back to square one inside your mind, right? So in your mind, you have to think back to the starting point and walk through that journey. Try to reflect on the decisions that you made, the kind of critical insights that you got along the way, so that you have a better awareness about the things that you have done. It's very common that when we implement certain things, we need to have a certain drive uh, to be focused on what's going on and to be focused on what is being implemented, rather than doing a self evaluation about yourself, or otherwise doing an evaluation about how things are going around you, etc. But facing a failure or otherwise a situation that you did not expect is a really good opportunity for you to do that reflection and evaluation about yourself and your team, how you did things, right? So that critical evaluation is very important. And after that, we have to limit how much we worry about what other people say. And I told, I'm saying you have to limit how much you worry specifically, because I'm not going to tell you not to worry about what others say. You of course have to care about it, because if you are continuously deaf to the opinions of people around you, you are going to miss out on some very important insights. But in the meantime, you should have a self-control about how much you are going to get worried about the things the other people are saying about what you do or what your team is doing, or otherwise your achievements or non-achievements, right? So take that middle path. And I believe that when you follow this, it will be a lot easy for you to make more sane decisions during the tough times.
Okay, so I think we have to filter all those criticism that we get and be positive to those constructive criticism actually. So that would be the end of the first session. So now we have a very interesting session called Rapid Fire. So as the name suggests, you will have to choose an option quickly as I give you two options to select from. I guess that's clear for you.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll be giving you two options, so you can pick one actually that most describes you or you prefer the most. Chocolate or caramel?
Chocolate.
Dawn or dusk?
Dawn.
Listen to music or read a book?
Listen to music.
Lead from the front or lead from the back?
Lead from inside.
Direct or conflict avoidant?
Direct.
Being a world citizen or empower others?
Empower others.
Okay. Strategic or transformational?
Strategic.
Being self-aware or being solution-oriented?
Self-aware.
Okay, so that would be the end of the rapid fire session. Hope everyone enjoyed it. So we are at the end of the podcast episode now. So finally, we would like to know what do you have to say to all the young people who are listening right now on being their own leader to succeed in life?
Yes, I would like to tell you, always follow your passion. AIESEC is an amazing place for you to find out what your passion is. And if you are struggling to do that, I recommend you to go through the lessons from my 20s presentation, which is done by Ryan Ellis, which will ask you some critical questions. I had the opportunity to go through these critical questions during one of the AIESEC conferences, which made this huge difference in my life. So I recommend you to go through that kind of self-reflection process and find out your passion and follow the same. Uh, in the meantime, you should not quit on the things that you want to achieve. There is a saying that you should you might uh, make compromises to achieve your mission, but never compromise your mission. So please remember that, so that when you have a mission in your mind, don't compromise that, but be ready to make compromises towards achieving the same. And then again, one of my previous points from today's podcast, don't be afraid to try something new. These are the three main things that I want to tell any of the future leaders who are seeking success.
Uh, that's a very good message. I think all the people, all the AIESECers or even non-AIESECers have got a lot of insights and inspiration actually from this, coming from a person with such experience. I hope this will help everyone to find the leader in themselves and succeed in their lives. So with that, we are going to conclude this episode. Thank you very much, Mr. Samantha Karandagoda, for taking your valuable time and joining with us to share your experience, ideas, and actually the journey of your AIESEC journey. Finally, I would like to thank the National Showcasing team for organizing this and continuing to inspire the younger generation more. So thank you for joining with us today, and we will see you in the next episode. Stay safe, everyone.